Welcome to Dub Nation, your hub for everything Utah Warriors of Major League Rugby. I'm Jarom Jordan alongside Banksy. What a game and scene Saturday as we were at Zions Bank Stadium for the first time in 665 days. It was a glorious night in Harriman.
The rugby gods opened up a 10 out of 10 afternoon for us, and then the rugby on the field was just fantastic.
We will break it all down coming up throughout the show. We are live on the Utah Warriors Facebook and Twitter accounts and on demand on KSLSports.com, the KSL Sports app, the KSL TV app, and rebroadcast Thursday nights on ESPN 700 and 960 as well. Give us a like, share the show, follow the Utah Warriors on social media. If you have a comment, fire away. We'll try and get to some of those during this live broadcast. If you want to just weigh in on demand, you always have that option as well. Let's get things started with the trivia question for a Utah Warriors hat. We'll tell you who the winner is later in the program.
The Warriors have 10 points through the first 2 games this season, which is the maximum amount of points available. How many points did Utah have through the first 5 games last year when the season was shut down? So 10 points through 2 games this season. How many points did Utah have through 5 games last year when the season was shut down? Make the comment with your answer, and we'll pick somebody at the end of the show to get hooked up with that Utah Warriors piece of kit.
And let's just say it's going better this time around. We'll recap coming up on the show the big home opening win against Toronto. The new mascot that can do backflips and has a flamethrower and stuff. It's awesome. And how you can pick the name and maybe even get season tickets. Show you the scores and standings after week 2. Preview the big road game at New England this Saturday. Chat with scrum half, sub, and hero Fraser Hurst, who had the try of the week in Major League Rugby. It was awesome. Today's Rugby 101 discusses how a ruck works. And we'll discuss a big-time player the Warriors traded for from the LA Guillotines.
So get your game day merchandise today with a hoodie, t-shirt, hat, beanie, mask, and that ticket to the April 10th game for just $88. It's a savings of $40. Go to warriorsrugby.com. You'll be the sharpest dressed person on your block. All the cool kids will want to be with you and hang out where you hang out with your proper Utah Warriors gear. It's a huge savings, and be ready for that next game. April 10th, save yourself $40 and get it at warriorsrugby.com.
Can we legally do that? That's like too much stuff for $88, right? Like that's
no
that's
such
amazing.
thing as too much. Never too much.
Okay, let's recap the game. A 39-24 win against Toronto. 15-pointer. That's a 3-score win, and it was amazing, man. It was amazing. Big win by 15 points. 3-score comfortable win. Some real talent was shown. And, beating a Toronto team that only has 1 point through 2 weeks, yes, they've struggled, but I think they're going to be one of the best teams in the East. Little payback for 2019 when Toronto put up 64 in Harriman. I know a little social media drama there, right? This was a monumental performance in the home opener in week 2, and now 2-0 for the Warriors.
You know, the score line is kind of deceptive because the game really wasn't as close even as the score line says. You know, the Warriors gave up 2 quick kind of, not really shorthanded tries, but 2 quick tries where they were just kind of lost their focus and concentration a little bit. But dominant in every aspect of the game, almost from the first kick. Fraser Hurst came on with the injury to Michael Baska and absolutely shined. Haan Schultz with the absolute bomb of a penalty kick to open the scoring. Once he made that, you kind of had that feeling that the Warriors were never going to look back, and they never did.
The Warriors never trailed in this game, and there was a point where Toronto scored 2 tries in 2 minutes and cut it to 10. But like you mentioned, just like pretty comfortable except for that point. And then the second half, it just kind of poured it on, and we're up big. A light try made it a little closer. Haan Schultz was unbelievable. 2-on-2, 2 for 2 on penalty kicks. One of them, the first one, was from 56 meters out. That was one of the longest kicks I've ever seen made.
And it was from almost the same spot as we saw in the exhibition game where it was or in the Austin game, where it was down to the minute, right at that 50-meter line, and that kick came up short. Thankfully, the Warriors able to get the win there in that game. And basically, Haan said, "Look, guys, you can't make a mistake in any part of the field," because it looked like he could have put more on that kick. It looked like when he's got that confidence, he kind of has that vibe. Like if he's got a kick from anywhere inside the opposition's 10-meter line, he could have a go at the posts. And really, he's got the leg to be able to get it there.
It was incredible. And he also had the kick that you referenced where he's kicking in touch, but he's past midfield on the opposite side of the field. He kicks across the pitch inside the 5. That's like the best free kick I may have ever seen in Utah Warriors history.
When it happened,
and that led to a try.
He was on the far side of the field, and when I saw him turn, he pointed to the sideline, and I'm like, why is he going across the far side of the field and not to the near sideline? But with his left boot, it gave him a better angle. Clearly, he's got the power in his leg to get it there, and it set up a great movement from the Utah Warriors forwards to be able to add to that points tally.
It was just incredible. So 5 tries for the bonus point. You get 8 points if you score 4+. Sama Malolo had 2. He now leads the team with 3. How about that? Lance Williams scores again. Mikey Teo scores his first. Fraser Hurst has his first as well. We'll talk about that more in a moment. Let's focus on Mikey Teo's because the interchange was incredible. It's a line out, it's a scrum.
You're right. It was a line out that was taken from the top. They took it down to the bottom. Tuvere Vungakoto comes on the swing around, and then he's got Mikey Teo to the inside. Vungakoto goes down in the tackle, and Mikey is right there running that line. That was a called play from the sideline. Every single one of those moves was set before that ball was even thrown in from the line out.
That was such a great interchange right there, and that was amazing. Okay, and then my favorite play, maybe Fraser Hurst try. My other favorite play was when Mikey Teo had a chase down sequence that was unbelievable. So let's go back. The Arrows have a line break. They get all the way down to like 10 meters out. Ball is turned over. Josh Whippy deflects the ball. Clifton Lobster gets the ball. He's almost in the Toronto try zone. He fends a would-be tackler, blasts a kick up the field where nobody was for Toronto. Here it is. And this goes all the way inside the 5. And look at Mikey Teo on his horse. He's trying to chase this down. Lucas Rumball, the captain, gets it. And look at Mikey make this tackle and force him into touch. And all of a sudden, momentum swung. And then I think the play that we just saw happened right after that, right? The line out where Teo scored. That was an unbelievable sequence and some world-class play by Lobster and Teo.
I don't think Lobster gets enough credit for how well he played back there this week. He was such a great safety net to have for the team. And you can see there his playmaking ability, able to fend the tackler with his back against his own try zone, weather the pressure, and then the kick to see the gap in between the players to realize nobody was home in the back. Rumble was the closest player to it, 40 meters away. Mikey Teo spotted him 20 meters on the sprint, and then it was just a drag race, man. It was a flat-out drag race, and they got there about the same time. Rumble had to slide and dive on it, and then just the composure to know where the sideline is and to be able to attack that ball and drive it into touch, and then the movement on the swing around for the try. That's another angle of it there. Mikey Teo doing what Mikey Teo does on the wing. I feel like this setup for the Warriors, we saw a whole lot more dynamic play from this back line. and the weapons that are available for this Utah Warriors team could shape up to be something really special.
Lobster was fantastic in his debut. He's one of 3 Warriors that get their first cap. We'll talk about that in a second in this. But okay, so then Michael Baska hurts his shoulder. At first, we thought it was really, really bad. Luckily, it's not as bad as we thought. He's out for a little bit, of course. But Fraser Hurst comes in, and these two were neck and neck for that starting scrum half spot, and very capable guys, both of them. Baska hangs in there as long as he can. He finally has to come out. Fraser Hurst comes in. And Fraser Hurst has an amazing game. We're going to talk to him coming up. He also has the try of the week in MLR. So he gets the ball out of them all, and he goes 60 meters the distance. It was amazing.
If you've seen any of the replays for this, it's such a great try. They take the ball here on the far side. It's about 65 meters out. Big Matt Jensen goes up and gets it. They roll around. You see Vunga Koto, as he usually does, standing at the back, and then Hurst looks blindside. You'll see him peek at Josh Whippy and then goes, realizes the gap isn't there. The cover defense is good, but he turns the winger around right there and then shoots that gap. Doesn't need Whippy, backs himself with the speed. We knew this guy had wheels when the Warriors signed him, and you saw a flash of what could be there from the number 9 position, the field of vision to be able to see over all of that traffic, recognize that gap down the blind side, and then the speed to finish it. And he looks like he's got another gear there he can go to at the end even.
That was amazing. Once he gets past that last defender, you can kind of see like the look on his eye, like, oh, I did it,
Scoring on debut. I mean, you can't ask for a better opener from Fraser Hurst coming off the bench, steadying the ship, and then playing really, really well.
It was fun to see his Instagram, his family watching, in Canada and other parts of the world. Just like, just going crazy. And this is this put it away. Maybe it was over, but I didn't think so at this point with 10 minutes to go, up 17. But once he scores this baby is done, man. Nail in the coffin, and just so exciting. And this crowd that was excellent of 2,500. How about that? 2,500 people able to see this. I talked to one fan that was at the game today in person. I said, well, hey, what do you think? He goes, that was awesome. I've been going to games since the first year. That was probably my favorite game I've ever seen. It was so exciting. It was the perfect opener for the Utah Warriors.
And take nothing away from Toronto as well. It's not like they played bad. I believe just the strategy and the game planning for what the Utah Warriors wanted to do, they were able to execute to perfection. It started with that physical dominance with the forward pack, but then the ability of the kicking game to outposition Toronto, where usually Toronto's the team making the high kicks, making the clearing kicks, and putting the pressure on you to make mistakes and then capitalize on those mistakes. They got none of those chances in this game versus the Utah Warriors, and it was the strategic kicking game that really played into that.
So Warriors debuts, we saw Fraser Hurst, of course, Clifton Lobster at 15 fullback, and then we saw Sione Tawataina, who came in and then got a yellow a couple minutes later, so he was out the rest of the way. But 3 dudes who debuts, and 2 of those guys have a massive impact. We're excited about Tawataina and perhaps what he can do a little bit later as well. We should bring up that Josh Whippy got a red card for what they call a high tackle. I believe Utah appealed, and he is not going to miss any games. He's going to be available this week, right?
It went to the review board like all red cards do, and to see if there was any maliciousness in it. Was he going high on purpose? Things got really scrappy near the end of that game. In the review board, it was understood that it was just really incidental play, that he didn't go high on purpose. There was no swinging arm. So while the red card was justified for that particular incident, there won't be any long-term penalty or suspension for Whippy.
Yeah, which is great news for what he's been doing at the center position. Okay, a tweet. Let's read. This is John Cullen, former Utah Warriors captain here. If anyone thinks I'm joking, they don't know me. I'm holding back tears watching this performance from the Utah Warriors. It was tremendous. And this is part of our Word on the Street segment. Pick your street, 6800 South, 40th, whatever. John Cullen was proud of the performance, as he should be.
Shouts out to Johnny Utah, the former captain, and that's a guy that put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into this franchise, and sadly not with the team this year, but obviously still emotionally invested in paying attention. It's great to see that kind of support from the former skip, and full credit to this team for putting on a performance for a full 80 minutes that the fans and people inside the organization and the rugby community all loved.
Yeah, it was awesome. And again, Warriors debut by Fraser Hurst, Sione Tawatana, Clifton Lopser, pretty cool. They get the cap. They get the actual cap. That's not just a figure of speech. That's an actual thing. I saw Fraser wearing it in the parking lot. He's probably got it hung up at home. We'll talk to him in a minute about it. But good to have those guys on debut.
It's a great rugby tradition with that classic cap. They'll have it embroidered with the date on when they made their debut, and that's a keepsake and an heirloom that they'll share with their families when they're old and wrinkly.
A rugby, yeah. For some guys, that's sooner than later. But yeah, it's a rugby tradition, the actual cap, right? And let's be honest, it's not like a cap you're wearing out in the park normally on a Saturday or whatever, but it looks awesome for what it is, right? Another tweet. Oh, go ahead.
No, go. I was clearing my throat. Sorry.
Pat Clifton. This is Pat Clifton, who pays attention to MLR. It's got his own podcast, I believe, as well. Utah Warriors are 2-0 with an American-born and bred Kansasan at scrum half, referring to Michael Baska. His high school coach, an American from Missouri. College coach, an American from Virginia. Turns out Americans can play, coach, and develop this game. And yes, all the different types of cultures and nationalities and whatnot are needed. America continues to grow in rugby, and having its own domestic league certainly is going to help that. Tim Klumper, the high school coach, it's important. What's happening is we're seeing the game get better and develop by Americans amidst the great influx of international players.
I think the international players that have come in have obviously raised the standard and the expectation for the American players. But you look at the model for what the Utah Warriors have done, as opposed to some of these other franchises who have gone out and got these aging brand names from overseas to come and kind of twilight their career for a couple of years at these franchises. The Utah Warriors are committed to that community, that tradition, showing that respect to our rugby roots here in Utah. And we have, I think, more domestic players on roster than just about any other team in the league. And we have more local pathways players on our first team roster than any other team in the league, really committed to growing that local stable of players and growing USA rugby. And it starts here in the state of Utah.
Utah is not going to be an MLR hospice team, like some of the others who have 1-year rentals, and one of those teams is crushing it right now. But is that sustainable? What Utah's doing is hopefully sustainable, right? With the selects and growing in the community and whatnot. So that'll do it. The recap, 39-24 over Toronto, massive win. We really look forward to the game against New England, which we'll preview in a moment. And then, of course, April 10th, Seattle coming to town, baby, the champs.
It's always going to be good when you get to face the champs, and they're struggling right now. I don't know that they're going to get it together. They've had a couple of other signings to try and shore up what they've got going on there, but April 10th, going to be a big rubber match, because you remember last year the Warriors, before the season closed, got a big win in Seattle against the Seawolves in the 85th, 86th minute of that game, and really made a statement there. So the Seawolves will be hungry for a little redemption, but I think the Warriors just have too much firepower right now. April 10th, 7 p.m. Mountain Time kick. Get your tickets at warriorsrugby.com and be there for Seattle Seawolves and the Utah Warriors at Zions Bank Stadium.
Okay, week 2 MLR scores. Let's walk through them. Old Glory DC beat Rugby ATL in the home opener at Segra Field, 30-23. Old Glory was down 10. Danny Tusitala, who's been fantastic at scrum half, proving to be one of the best in the competition. No Harley Davidson, who was injured in the week before, but Old Glory DC looking like they're all right.
Tusitala played for Auckland provincially in New Zealand, plays for Samoa internationally, showing what a great talent he is and deserving of all of that praise. You've got to know where he is at all times, and he really does a good job at keeping that defense honest. He's been a problem for opposing teams in the first couple of weeks.
Nola Gold pounds Rugby United New York, 51-28, high-scoring affair in this one. Nola putting up some points here. 3 tries from Joeli Tikoi Suva. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Franchise record, by the way, for Rooney. Most points allowed in the early part of the season. When I say for Rooney, probably I mean Nola Gold. But 51 is a lot to give up. Nola Gold looking pretty good right now.
I think this surprised a lot of people. A lot of people had Rooney picked for the win there, but JoJo is an electric player. He has been for years. He's on the national radar. The guy can obviously score in a hurry when you pick up 3 tries like that, the intercepts the way he did. He's going to be one to watch for in the coming weeks as we have NOLA on the schedule.
Biggest surprise of the week, New England beating Houston 32-0. What? But yeah, we'll recap that one a little bit more in our preview of the Free Jacks, but that was a surprise.
It was close at the half. I think it was only 5-0 at the half, and then the Free Jacks ran away with it. Some miscommunication. I know that we're missing a couple of key pieces there in Houston as well. So that Houston team is much better than getting an offer on the scoreboard there. So don't expect that to be the standard for them going forward. But, New England, take nothing from them. 32-0. I think, I might be wrong. Billy, you might know. Is that the first shutout? Is that the first skunk in MLR? At least this season, I think it is.
This season for sure.
Yeah, this season I think
I'm wondering about other seasons. Yeah.
I don't know that I've ever seen yet a team go and get shut out. I could be wrong, but
I don't recall it either. Yeah,
a big statement from the Free Jacks. I mean, 32-0 is nothing to sneeze at. So able to continue to apply that pressure and show the mentality there that they need to win tough games.
So those were Saturday. Then Sunday, the San Diego Legion beat the Austin Gilgronis 14-11. Bryce Campbell, the Austin captain, knocked out cold when J.B. McIntosh, former All Black, landed on his head in a tackle. He was okay in the end, luckily. And a 73rd minute try by the Legion got the win. That was a tight one.
I think the Gilgronis are going to find themselves in some very close games this year. And unfortunately, they're finding themselves on the wrong side of those score lines in those final minutes. I think that might be the way to go. I hope they would work it out. They've managed to keep all these games competitive. It's an incredibly physical side. But Gilgronis, for 2 weeks in a row now, giving up the close game.
And then last but not least, LA Giltinis, right now the class of the league so far with the Warriors, it seems like, beat the Seattle Seawolves 57-26 at Memorial Coliseum there in LA. It was 38-7 at half. Harrison Goddard hat trick. LA looks really good.
I don't know if there's going to be a team in the league that can keep them under 30 points this year. They're that good. You're going to have to defend at an elite level against this team because what they're doing, specifically with their back line, they're able to move the ball really well and find those gaps in space from the set piece that really just punish you from the fly half position to the centers and then out onto their wings. This is a really good LA Giltinis team, and I don't want to say that. I think they have the worst looking kit in the league. They have the worst looking colors team in the league.
Pink and white and yellow.
I mean, I gave that award to Toronto in the first couple of years of the MLR, mostly just because the Toronto kit was boring. But whoever's making those decisions in LA, thankfully they're making good personnel decisions because they're making terrible fashion choices.
Yeah, there's a lot of dough being shelled out this year.
For sure.
Will any of these guys, they're the San Diego Legion of 2021 from 2020, I think, right?
That's true. That's true. It's the Oz Teenies basically with Giteau and Adam Ashley Cooper there. You know, it's the Gil Aussies, if you want to call them. Whatever you want to say about them, it doesn't matter. They're winning rugby games, and that's the only thing that matters. This isn't the NCAA. It doesn't matter what the coaches poll. This is professional sports at the top level, and the only thing that matters is a win or a loss at the end of the day.
Yeah, so that wraps up the scores. We'll get to the standings in just a moment.
So get your season tickets for the final 7 games of the season, starting at just $84 at WarriorsRugby.com. Obviously, you've missed one. You saw what a great game it was when the Warriors play at home at Zions Bank Stadium. Come be part of Dub Nation. Get your season tickets available now at WarriorsRugby.com and all of the perks that go along with it. And be ready for that next game coming up on the 10th with Seattle coming to town for your Utah Warriors.
Okay, let's look at the table or standings, depending on if you're a purist or not. LA and Utah tied at the top in the West with 10 points. And then NOLA leading the way with 8 in the East. So how about the Utah Warriors through 2 games, tied for the most points in the league? This is as good of a start as could have happened, right? You look at the opponent coming up in New England. They do have 5 points. And the one thing to look at is point differential. Plus 46 for LA. They're blowing people out. NOLA plus 23. And then the next best team in the league is the Utah Warriors plus 17. So one a tight one and then one by 15. So point differential is a sustainable metric of success, right? Obviously winning. But if you're winning tight ones constantly, you're going to lose some of those. So I like the fact there's 10 points and third best point differential in the league.
It's tight at the top. I think it's going to be tight at the top all year long. The Giltinis are setting the standard for what's expected with scoring, open, free-flowing rugby. But then you look down that side and you've got to think, okay, NOLA played really well through the week. Old Glory, a tough team. San Diego's got to get it together with the talent they have on that side. And even down the bottom with teams like Atlanta, Houston, and Austin, you know that there is the physicality and the talent on those teams. They're going to get it together and make a run at this. It's a long season with 16 games. They're going to start stacking up those points as we get into those final 8 games of the year. And it's going to get really interesting to see who can maintain that elite level performance and who plays a little catch up.
And a reminder, the top teams in each league will make the semifinals, and then winners of those make the championship coming up in late July and early August. Okay, the Warriors have a mascot, Banksy. How about that? But it needs a name.
So if you want to come up with a great name for the Utah Warriors mascot, look at it. There it is. Gorgeous. Best mascot in Major League Rugby right there. The man has his own flamethrower. Get out of here with that. Text the word mascot right now to 844-940-2733. Let me say that again. Mascot is your keyword. Text that to 844-940-2733. and you'll get entered to win 2 season tickets. We got to come up with a great name. Every great mascot needs a great name, and you could be a part of that and create a part of history for the Utah Warriors.
I love it. Can't wait to see what the fans come up with, and that will be revealed on April 10th, so you'll want to be there to see that. That'll be awesome. Okay, let's talk about games this week. The first game of the week is Utah at New England. We will preview this coming up in a moment. It's on CBS Sports Network, by the way, and of course ESPN 700 and 960. Can't wait for that. And then Toronto at Old Glory DC, San Diego Legion at Rugby ATL, and Houston at Gilgronis, Austin Gilgronis. So a couple of buys for a few teams there, but should be an interesting week 3.
I would look for probably Toronto to bounce back at Old Glory. San Diego versus Atlanta is a push right now with the issues they've got going on in San Diego. If Atlanta can get healthy with a couple of their key players getting back, they're going to be a threat. And that Houston Gilgronis, in-state rivalry there. Those teams know each other. Those players know each other, having played up
Texas
through the club level.
They call it?
Yeah, that's going to be another close game that I see going the way of the SaberCats in that particular matchup.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what happens. Toronto really needs a win there, and then Atlanta and San Diego, a lot of athleticism there, and then the Texas Cup, so it's going to be a fun week, absolutely. And then, of course, the Utah Warriors going to New England. We will preview that coming up in just a minute.
Get your game day merchandise today with a hoodie, T-shirt, hat, beanie, mask, and a ticket to that April 10th game to see your Utah Warriors in action. It's all just $88. That's a savings of $40. Go to warriorsrugby.com. No matter what the weather, you'll have the kit ready to go and look as fresh as you can, standing on those sidelines, in those stands, cheering on Dub Nation.
Okay, let's bring in our guest today. His name is Fraser Hurst. He didn't know he'd necessarily be coming in about 20 minutes into the match on Saturday, but he came in, did a tremendous job, had a great, quick ball getting out of the rucks, scored the try of the week in the league. He's from Canada, and he did some damage to the Canadians on the other side from Toronto. Fraser, welcome to Dub Nation, man. How you doing, brother?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me. I'm doing well, thank you. How are you guys doing?
We are not doing as well as you, but you had the MLR try of the week, man. First off, as the backup scrum half, you got to be ready any second as, the backup quarterback, if you will, of this team. When Michael Basket went down and you quickly have to get into the game and you make your debut as a Warrior, what were the emotions like?
Oh, I mean, to be honest, I talked to the coaches beforehand. They're like, look, yeah, we want to get you like kind of 20 minutes against your Canadian boys. So I was kind of expecting to go in at the 60-minute mark. But when I saw Basket go down, I was like, holy crap, here we go. So I kind of quickly had to flip the switch, and definitely some nerves for sure. But just kind of told myself, hey, look, this is your moment. Came a little earlier than expected, but let's go. Just
talk us through this try. Talk us through this try as you're standing at the back of this mall. You look over and see Josh Whippy in that gap on the outside. What are you thinking here when you break that first tackle?
It's funny. We had a play called where we were supposed to go the opposite way, but I had Josh Whippy in my ear being like, Fraser, like go, like check out the space, and you know what? I I just kind of was hesitating there, as you can see, and then I saw it, and then I just kind of just hit the gas. And as I was going, I was kind of like, do I pass in my head? Like, where's my support? And then I said, you know what, I'm not messing this up. And I just kind of tucked the ball and just went for it, and it worked out.
You looked so excited when you scored, and that was the feeling we all had. What was it like to not just play, but score a try like that, which was the MLR try of the week, man?
You know what? It was honestly a dream come true. Just even getting out there, getting my debut has been a dream of mine for a long time. And, you know, to get it against my home Canadian side is even awesome. I know like 3/4 of the guys on that team. I played with all of them. So to get a try against them, it was super emotional. You know, I didn't really have that much time in the game to process it, 'cause we had to go right back down and set up to receive the kick. But, you know, after the game, it was kind of super emotional. I had a call with my parents, and yeah, it was honestly a dream come true.
So as you look forward to New England this week, now you've got your first real week to prepare, knowing you're probably going to be the guy at 9 going in with Basket out with injury. You know, what's going through your head now? You've had a run out with the boys. You see what they're capable of doing. It's got to be exciting times when you've got the power of this forward pack in front of you and the lethality of this back line behind you. You could really kind of pick and choose your moments to do whatever you want, right?
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I mean, having a forward pack like the one we do have at Utah is amazing. They give me a lot of confidence, a lot of big boys out there helping me get over the gain line. So it's awesome. You know, kind of as amazing as last weekend was, it's kind of time we flushed out as a team on Monday. And yeah, unfortunately, Basca had hurt his shoulder, so I'll kind of be stepping into that role. So we've just kind of been preparing, trying to get the mind right to prepare for this New England side, because obviously they're coming off a nice win. I mean, 32-0 shutout. So yeah, we've just kind of getting ready. We've got one more day of practice and then fly out Friday. But I think we're excited to keep this going. I mean, this 2-0 winning streak is amazing, but you know, we just keep telling ourselves, you know, it's super early in the season. These wins, realistically, they're great, but they mean nothing. We just got to keep on the hard work and just keep going.
Fraser, 10 points through 2 weeks is perfect, right? That's the maximum amount of points. What's it been like with the squad to go in on the road at Austin? And you know, at first was convincing, and then got a little tighter, but come out with a win, and then a 3-score win against a good Toronto team.
Yeah, you know, I think we're just building each and every week. We're getting better. We had a great preseason together. We were fortunate enough to be one of those teams that was able to, you know, fully train together, have great facilities. So, you know, every week we come in, we're just trying to get better each and every week, and, you know, stick to our game plans. Just always push the pace. You know, coming from Utah with altitude, we're definitely use that to our advantage at home. And then when we go away, home games are almost a huge benefit, because it's with the air. It's almost easy for us to play. We catch our breath way easier. So we just look to push the pace and yeah, just run up the score tally.
Talk about the culture of this team and coming in now as the new guy. We have players from all over the world and from many different cultures, but everybody's all in on the Utah Warriors way. Who were some of the first players to reach out to you as you came into the clubhouse and have kind of helped you settle in here?
You know, it's funny enough, a lot of people don't know this, but I actually played with Schulte Hagen back home in his hometown, Christchurch, New Zealand. I was fortunate enough to play rugby down there for 2 years. So I instantly kind of gravitated towards him, as we kind of had a previous bond. And then, you know what, to be honest, like, it's just a really great environment Utah has here. Like, everyone's super welcoming, super nice. And, you know, there's no individual efforts or individuals. We're a unit, we're a team. That's kind of the atmosphere that they look to create here. You know, right when I got the call from Kimball, he's like, look, like we care about building the great individuals and great rugby players, but honestly, the great individuals come first. So it's honestly a treat to be a part of. It's really a great atmosphere, from the staff to the coaches to all the players. It just makes your day so much easier coming in and with friendly faces. You know, it's just always good energy, good vibes.
Well, Fraser, your first team all MLR fade. Like, that is nice, bro. Can you show us the side here? And look, that is excellent. Like, yeah, look at that thing, man. That is nice.
Haircut, like. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Super fresh. Who do you think has the best hair on the team? Well, there's a lot of good lettuce on this squad. Who gets the hair MVP through the first 3 matches unofficially this year?
Oh,
I know it's a tough call. Mikey Teo's got a great head of hair.
Tommy.
You think so?
Yeah,
The
Mikey Teo's
two
got
of-
a sweet do with
two-
his braids. Yeah, I mean,
The two avowed
it kinda
two-tone?
yeah, it kind of seems like the Utah special with like kind of the short faded sides with the long mullet lettuce at the back. There's a couple. James, the winger, has a good one. Josh Whippy, Tommy. I mean, I kind of like that flow. I might have to grow my hair out just to do that.
Well, that's awesome, man. Well, congratulations on your first cap, MLR Try of the Week, and best of luck at New England, which is going to be a tough challenge, of course, but likely your first start at scrum half, of course. So good luck in New England, and hopefully come back with a win, man.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much, guys.
Okay, that's Fraser Hurst, Canadian scrum half. He's from the west side, I believe BC, right? And what a pickup, a young guy that maybe overlooked by some, including Toronto and Utah, able to get this guy, and he was awesome, man.
You know, he's a guy that played through the under-20s program in Canada, so he's not really completely off the radar, but obviously competing for a spot. And when I think 12 of the starting 15 for Toronto are inside the national team program for Canada, you know it's going to be tough to get that kind of attention. So to show out, to play really well, and to play composed rugby and to score that solo effort, I mean, it really speaks to the credit of what a quality rugby player he is. You know, a young guy still with a lot of room to grow and a really high ceiling, but just the physical talents of this guy and the way that he's been able to fit into this system with a really active foot and able to make plays with both his head, hands, and feet. You know, it's going to be incredible to see him continue to grow.
Looking forward to it. And New England and Utah coming up this Saturday at 2:30 Mountain Time. You can watch on CBS Sports Network. You can listen on ESPN 700 and 960. Banksy and Ashley Burge on the call for that one on the radio this weekend. Free Jacks beat the SaberCats, as we mentioned, 32-0 on the road, 5-0 at halftime. But 10 points for the Warriors, 4 points for the Free Jacks for the first couple games. A couple players to watch. Captain Josh Larson, a Canadian who participated in the Bermuda Tens a couple months ago. Vice Captain Bodine Waka, former All Black, Sevens players. Waikato Mitre 10 Cup player during the offseason. Tara Mtembu, number 8 ex-Sharks captain. That guy's a baller. And, of course, Dougie Fife, the Scotsman who's been putting it in the try zone quite a bit.
For that forward pack, Ntembu, with the leadership quality that he has playing through that Super Rugby level, he's going to be a weapon from the back of that scrum. It's great to see all of the talent that continues to come in to Major League Rugby as they look to push their skills up. I like what the Free Jacks have done with the way they've built their roster with a lot of young, exciting talent with something to prove. I just don't know that they have the physicality at all 15 positions to match up with what the Warriors can do.
Yeah, and is that the biggest advantage in your mind with what Utah offers against New England this week?
When you look at guys like, Austin Fortine, what Sama Malolo can do in the open field with the way he scores tries, with the addition of Paulie Mullins possibly coming back finally healthy. And then you look at the back three in our loose forward play. Lance Williams, a healthy Lance Williams is a problem for the team. You look at these moves lots of times and you see Aston Fortine finding Gus McClellan out on the wing and making the offloads and running into gaps. It doesn't matter if it's a single-digit jersey or a double-digit jersey for these Utah Warriors. They can play in space and use their hands. And when you've got somebody like Tyler Fisher playing at 13, that guy's built like a Super Rugby number 6. I mean, he's an absolute unit of a human being. So competitively all over the field, you're going to have to play physically up to the Utah Warriors level, where the Utah Warriors can continue to do what we know best and play our brand of rugby and beat you with that. So I'm interested to see how some of these key matchups play out for the Utah Warriors.
Okay, they're New England's averaging 30 points a game, so put the good number offensively, 27 in a loss to LA and then 32 against Houston. Gave up 42 to LA. Granted, LA is the top offense so far. Then Houston 0. So that got weird, 42 and then none allowed in 2 weeks. Series history, don't forget last year in Vegas, Utah won 39-33 on 26 unanswered points in Vegas. That was a tremendous comeback win by Utah.
Don't be surprised here if the difference maker in this game is how they play at the set piece, the strength of the Utah Warriors forward pack, our ability to get up in the air with guys like Matt Jensen, Austin Fortine. Bailey Wilson been a weapon in the air, and I think a surprise for a lot of people at the line out. He's got such steady hands. And then the big bodies with guys like Paul Mullen, with Franco Vandenberg, with Tuveri Bungakoto, Ali Khalifi. There's a lot of weight and a lot of power in this forward pack to inflict our will. When you think about, the international quality of our starting front row, and then you've got guys like Alex Tucci coming in, who is in the 70th minute coming in as a sub and turning scrums from the loose head side. He's just so unbelievably strong and brings such a great energy. In those late minutes, our assets and our depth on the bench to continue that set piece dominance could be what sets this apart if the score is close late.
And as you mentioned, could we see the debut with the Warriors of Paul Mullen, who's been unavailable the previous 2 weeks? Perhaps we see him this week. But even if he's not there, Angus McClellan has been wrecking fools, man. I ain't worried about that, man.
This has been great for Gus. It's got to be a confidence booster for him. When you sign somebody like Paul Mullen to come in and play your position with the experience that he has, full credit to Gus. He didn't take it personally. He just went to work. And then with the health issues that Paul has had, Gus just stepped up week 1 against McIntosh. It was a huge body, the one cap All Black. Everybody makes a big deal out of him being an All Black. He got a cap, which is like a token cap to see how he plays at the top level. And Gus goes in and wrecks him in Austin, and then comes back the next week and has an absolute scorcher of a game again. I mean, Utah is just dumb. We have not lost a scrum yet this season. I need to knock on something so I don't give him the old commentator's curse. But the power of these 8 men is staggering, the way they're playing together. Because, it's not just the tight head prop doing a good thing and everybody else just pushing and leaning in behind them. These guys know what they want to do. They know when they want to do it, and they're in sync.
It's awesome to see. And knock on means something in rugby, so I'm not sure knock on is the right phrase we should use there. But anyway, big time trade from the LA Guiltinis. Mika Kruse is on the Utah Warriors. This guy was awesome with Glendale and Colorado Raptors, then signed to LA. He's young, 22, 6'1", 220. Was on the 2018 USA Eagles 23 that played against the Maori All Blacks, got into that. So listen, there's some real depth here at a lot of positions, and it was good to see a guy like Kruse get into the backs with the Utah Warriors. I'm looking forward to see him play. I don't know if it's Saturday, but very soon.
I think this is another weapon that just adds to the depth of the Utah Warriors. When you talk about having Josh Whippy on one side and the way that he's played so incredibly well, and I think Mikey Teo playing more naturally in his number 14 position on the right wing. We've got somebody like, Clifton Lobser playing back at 15. All of that wealth of experience, the World Cups, the league matches, playing overseas, all of the time that these guys have spent playing rugby. For a young guy like Mika, it's going to be unbelievable as far as his education to be able to continue to grow. Still a young guy. This is a guy that's not going to hit his peak for probably another 4, 5, 6 years. There's a lot of time to develop him, and he's already such a raw talent and an asset with the ball in his hands, with his elusiveness. He's more of a speed player where, the Warriors right now with our starting 15 are built for a different kind of attack. This is a guy that can come in and get an absolute turn of pace and bring a burst of energy when you need it. And another great head of hair for this team.
Oh, yeah, that's what it's all about, man. It's the first team all lettuce team. Let's go. Okay, a little Rugby 101. If you're new to the game, let's talk about it. All good. Banksy, in fact, you've already recorded something. Let's play that and then get your reaction. Walk us through what a ruck is and how it works.
I recorded something?
I thought you did.
Did I?
Maybe not.
Oh, I have no idea. The basics.
Let's act like it happened right now.
So, Rugby 101 from the ruck. When the tackle is made
on their feet and in contact,
there you are.
Close around the ball on the ground after a tackle. Once the ruck has been formed, players can't use their hands to get the ball, only their feet.
Hey, there we go. See?
I completely forgot I did that. Good job, Billy. Thank you to Billy, the producer, for having that ready. Look, the ruck is what happens when the tackle occurs during open play. The tackler must release the ball carrier and roll away, and then the opposing players will set a platform over the top of him to move the ball to the back of the ruck with their feet, and then the scrum half will come and restart play and get the ball out and through the hands again. You'll see a lot of your forwards in there doing a lot of the heavy lifting in the tackle breakdown. This is where guys like Lance Williams make their bread and butter and wreaking havoc on the opposition's tackle and ball. So many great moments in my rugby life have come from wrecking dudes in a ruck. And just when you hit somebody and you hear that from them, you know you turn them inside out. This is where you set that physicality and that dominance in a rugby game. It starts not at the set piece, it starts at every single ruck and every single tackle. And the Utah Warriors do it as well as any team in the league.
Well, join us April 10th for the next home game at Zions Bank Stadium. MLR's back-to-back champs, the Seattle Seawolves, 7 Mountain Time. Go to warriorsrugby.com. Okay, let's hand out some swag if we got a correct answer to the trivia question, Banksy.
The Warriors have 10 points through 2 games this season and the maximum amount of points on offer. How many points did Utah have through 5 games last year when the season was shut down? The difference between 5 games last year and just 2 games this year, how many total points were on offer? And the answer is 12 points. A big difference in the way the Utah Warriors are playing this year through just 2 games, getting max points and 12 total points on offer. Of course, getting those points on the away win and a point for a draw for those Warriors in the shortened 2020 season. So off to a much better start this year. I don't know if we have a winner, but everybody that took their guesses online, we will draw a winner and contact you and get that swag out to you.
Absolutely. Okay, before we go, we want to shout out to Jen Roney and Tyler Dexter, our certified athletic trainers. They did a great job getting the team ready to rock to start the season. The team looks really fit.
These two work their butts off behind the scenes. They're great personalities and characters that take care of these guys and keep them moving and mobile. So a big thanks to Jen and Tyler.
And they were dealing with, a couple knocks. Of course, Michael Baska had to come out. And so shout out to Jen and Tyler. Absolutely great work. Okay, that'll do it for us. Like and share this episode of Dub Nation on Facebook and Twitter. Reminder to follow the Utah Warriors on social media throughout the season on KSL Sports and ESPN 700 and 960 as well. For Fraser Hurst, Billy the producer, and Banksy, I'm Jarom Jordan. Go Warriors, beat the Free Jacks.